So this is the story of my broken roof tile. Actually, just remember there was a massive storm. We had a big storm in Northern Ireland. I'm trying to think when this was. What are we in now? July? This kid towards school. Could have been May. Could have been earlier than that. Anyway, I was in my new job, I know that. So it was definitely after January. We had this big storm, and it's the first time I've ever known of a red weather warning in Northern Ireland. We've had plenty of amber, but never had a red weather warning, and this was a red weather warning because I remember being in work and being like, they're gonna close roads or places and stuff, and all like the food halls and stuff were all being closed, and the shopping stores and schools and things like that, and all I could think of in my mind was, they're going to close the schools, I'm going to have no one at home for my kids. And it was a Friday, I'd only done half day, and I thought, right, well, fine. And I thought, oh, what about driving home? It's going to be dangerous. So I happened to mention this to my boss. I was like, oh, I don't know if it's like safe to drive in these conditions. And actually we had this alert come on our phones through the government, and it gave a red weather warning. So it's for things like disasters. I don't know, they use it in America for tornadoes and hurricanes and things, and over COVID they'd implemented this on our phones. And my husband's terrible conspiracy theorist, and he's like, don't lie on your phone, blah blah blah. And I was like, whatever. I do want to know if there's a disaster so I can prepare to leave. It's common sense to me. So I must have put it on my phone, and it's this really high pitch alarm on your phone too, and everybody's phones were going off in the surgery on the Thursday evening to say red weather warning for tomorrow, don't drive if you don't have to. And I was like, I'm supposed to be coming to work. And then my boss came in and she was like, right, the doctors are going to work from home, so you don't have to come to work tomorrow. And I was like, oh, thank God, that's that all sorted, don't have to worry about that. And that was fine. During this storm, it had me up during the night and stuff, and into the early hours of the morning, like right up till lunch. And I live right down beside the water, and there's only a row of houses sheltering me in front of me from the sea, and this wind is blowing. From what I can work out, the houses higher up got it worse, whereas I'm quite down low near sea level. We didn't get it as bad. Don't know anything about that, so if you're a geologist, I think that's what you call them, anybody that studies things like that, and the wind and the sea and the waves and all the rest of it, you probably know more about that than me. And this storm is raging, and I was like, Lord, if my roof tiles come up, I had got solar panels, and I was worried that these solar panels were going to blow off the roof and everything. And anyway, all, see what I mean? Catastrophizing. No trust. Anyway, I was like, I'm going to trust God. I know what it says in the word, that you never see the righteous forsaken, and we're protected by his holy angels. That's my mind. I can see these angels all around my house, and I was praying that no harm come to my property, that we're protected by God, and that nothing would be a problem. So that's okay. Next day, everybody's out in their houses. They're on the roof, they're fixing their tiles. Tiles were flying off everywhere. Like, it wasn't as bad as like hurricanes and things like that there. Like, we don't get anything like that here in Northern Ireland, but I mean, enough damage. Fences down everywhere, trees down everywhere, and things like that. And I said to my son, go out around our house and look and see if any of our roof tiles are missing, and see if there's any damage. Go the whole way around the house. And he got up and he looked and he looked and he looked, and I went out into the garden and I checked all around the garden, checked trees, whatever. Nothing. He came back and reported, nothing, Mum. And all I could find was, in the back of my house, there's these two sort of old outside lamps, and they were metallic. This is my hair. Metallic, and they were really old and rusted. And because I live beside the sea, the salt is over everything, so they were ready to go. And one of them took the hit, and it's dangling, like right dangling down, holding on by the wires. Hadn't fallen to the ground. Not one thing falls to the ground. But had totally keeled over and wasn't working. I'm switching the light on and off. The other one was working, this one wasn't. I was like, Lord, thank you so much that you protected my house. No fences down, nothing broken, no roof tiles off, solar panels still intact, thank God. No damage, no damage. Thank you, Lord. Like really, really, really. I was like, thank you, because I haven't got the money for this, and I won't be able to afford repairs. Anyway, so this was the only thing that was damaged, was the outside lamp. No big deal. Here's me, right, that's good. So that's fine. Couple of, about 2-3 months later, after the storm, I'm sitting in my living room, and my living room, I live in a bungalow, and my living room is like a peculiar shape, so the roof is, the ceiling is like this on it. It's like a pentagon shape, yeah, the same as the windows, but the ceiling is like that too, which is a nightmare because you can't clean the dust cobwebs off the top. You do this big extension pole. Anyway, I look up and there is a damp patch, and I was like, oh no, something's leaking. And Lord, I don't have the finances to be getting a roofer out. And I was like, what am I gonna do? I says, right, Lord, you're gonna need to make the money appear from somewhere. You know that roof tile's broke, and we're now coming into summer, so I know it's not a big issue, a big rush to get it fixed, but needs done, and I don't want any more damage to my house. So I sends my son up again. I says, go up and check this roof tile, and he gets up and he takes it, and it comes off in his hand, and I was like, put it back on, can't leave it without the time. That's okay, now I know where it is, and it's a roof tile is broken, it's nothing else. Okay, good. I'll sort it. Forgot about it, remembered about it, forgot about it, and then I seen the patch and I was like, Lord, what about the roof tile? How am I going to get that fixed? I don't know any rivers, I don't know how to ring people. My husband done all that. It wasn't my responsibility. That was his job, that was his help. He helped me with all the things like that. Have an ocean. So I'm in church, and my friend Jo is there, and she kept saying to me before, oh, my fella's a roofer, and he's coming to check the church's roof. And I was like, right, I never thought about it. I was like, right, okay. And then he came, there was one night we were on, or church was on, and we were there, and he said to me, I need to go out and meet my fella. He's here with the ladders to check a roof for the pastor. And I was like, oh, right, okay. And then it dawned on me, he's a roofer. Just what I need. I must say to him. And then I said to Jo, do you think he'd have a look at my house? And she says, could ask him. She says, he doesn't like doing a lot of homework, Emma. He really doesn't. He works really hard during the week and doesn't like doing a lot of private work. She says, I actually don't understand why he's doing it for the church, because usually he would say no to those things. And I was like, right, okay. And he came out and we're talking to him, and I says, you don't know anything about you wouldn't want to come and look at my house because I think I've a broken roof tile. And he says, aye. And I went, and Jo was like, right. And then she says, he doesn't usually do homework, Emma. He's like, he would warn me, don't be encouraging all that. And I get that. People don't want to do that in their free time, whenever they've spent all day doing their job, It's like the hairdresser doing their family's hair when they go home, or like even a nurse, like doing leg dressings for every family member, if might have done that. Although that probably wouldn't bother me, to tell you the truth. I don't mind those things. I would do that till kingdom come. And anyway, so he comes round, and I was like, Lord, I don't have the money. I know this is probably going to cost. I I was thinking it maybe cost, I don't know, like £150, maybe £200, you know, by the time he got the tile, the cementy stuff, sticky stuff, whatever, they put it on the roof with, and, you know, to pay him for his labour and stuff. It's probably worth more than that, but in my mind, this was. And I was like, oh, I have money for this, Lord, help me. And he came round and he went up and he looked at it and he says, I'll be able to stick that, repair that back together and put it on. And I went, right, okay, dead on. So he's up there working away, and me and Joe were standing talking, watching him do it. And he came down and I says, right, what's the damage? What's it going to cost? And he says, X amount of money. I'll not tell you because I don't like to talk about people's personal business like that. And I went, really? Is that all? And he's like, yeah, just throw me that. And I was like, right. So I sent him the money and a wee tip. And wait a minute, I was like, thank you, Lord. I had enough money to pay that. It wasn't a big amount, you know, it really wasn't. And that's how the Lord brings people into your life with the skills that you need to help you. What do I know about roofing? Not a notion. And this is where I was talking about my trust issues, and I just have to get to the point where I'm like, Lord, I know nothing about that, but you do. You know loads of people that have skills. You put those skills in them and you'll send someone to help me. And I just left it at that. And then that's whenever I met Joe's partner, and he came to do that for me, and he doesn't usually. And I made like a flippant comment about the money, and she was like, yeah, we're just going to go get some groceries now. And I was like, right. And so the Lord sent him to fix my roof so they could have the money to buy their groceries. I got my roof done. He got his grocery paid for. Win-win. And you could say, oh, I'm sure that's how it works. People do the work. People get paid. People buy the groceries. Well, that's okay. But the way I like to look at it is the Lord provides all my needs. And that might be really stupid and really silly to use. But I didn't have the money that I needed. So you tell me how I got that at that cost price. And how did that man have the skills to be able to do that? Because I don't have any roofers actually in my family or anything. And how did I just happen to meet Joe at church? And how did they just so happen to be going to get their groceries and that's covered their grocery bill? Because that's how God works. I see it like a wee chess piece. It's like everything, a wee jigsaw. Everything sort of fits in together in his plan, and God's people help each other and provide for each other. And when you wait on God, he'll bring you the people. And like I've said to you before, there's certain men that are in my life, women too, but these men in particular are because I don't have those skills, and because I know really nothing about that, they educate me. I trust them. I trust those men in my life to deal with really important issues like my car, like my mortgages. The other one is my solicitor. Was brought into my life, and actually my son is using him now as well. And those were people that were brought into my life by God. They don't even realise it. They haven't a clue. Joe's husband doesn't even realise he was used by God in doing that, because I was praying, and God always answers my prayers. So you might think that's stupid wee prayers, but I needed it fixed, and it got fixed, and it was in the summertime, so I didn't have any leaks. And actually a couple of days after that, it poured. It was heavy rain. We get a lot of rain in Northern Ireland. So yeah, just in the nick of time before that ended up a disaster. But I thought it was quite funny, that wee roof story. And there's loads of wee occurrences like that there. And now I just acknowledge God for what he does in my life. Before I'd have thought that's just coincidence. But if I prayed and it happens, but God's always looked after me. Even when I wasn't praying, and even when I was in, like, living in the world, totally blinded. Didn't acknowledge God for anything. I couldn't see him working. Now I see him working. I'm really, really aware of him working. And I'm actually going to do another. That's the third man, is the accountant. Boom. There's actually more than three. So we've got the mechanic, we've got the financial advisor, my solicitor, and the accountant, and also Dr. Lua, and we'll talk about him after. That's 5, but yeah, and they're really important people. They're really important because they deal with really important things in my life, and none of them are Christians, and none of them realise that God uses them. So God still gets the glory either way. So that's my story about my roof tile. And if you have something, regardless whether it's what you consider a stupid need, nothing is stupid to God. God is so concerned about all of your life. He is concerned about your mental health and your well-being. He's concerned about your physical health. He's concerned about every one of your children. I know he is. I know God loves my children. He's concerned with every detail, wee roof tile on your house. He wants to keep you safe, keep you warm, keep you dry. He wants to be ingrained and moulded into every part of your wee intricate, stupid wee details of your life. And because God is so good like that to us, we should have that mindset ourselves. So if God is willing to give to me, he pours into me so we can pour out to other people. So you see, if you see your neighbour struggling and they need their grass cut it. What's that going to cost you? A one-off. If you have an elderly neighbour who cannot manage to take their wheelie bins out because they're so heavy, or they go up steps, or they're just not able to do it for them. Where has our culture gone of kindness and helping? And you do not need to be a Christian to know that. Just be kind. Just be kind. So that's a wee challenge today. Help someone. God helps you, help someone else. Pour out onto them. And it's God's love and kindness that attracts people. Yeah. So that's the story about the roof tile. And I'm going to tell you about the 5 men in a wee minute.